With the first pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks selected French small forward Zachary Risacher. However, most of the discourse around the draft wasn't about him, or second overall pick Alex Sarr, or NCAA tournament heroes like Donovan Clingan, Zach Edey, and Dalton Knecht. Most of the conversation was centered around the 55th overall pick, where the Los Angeles Lakers selected a USC shooting guard by the name of Bronny James. People were really upset that the Lakers took Bronny with this pick, calling it a wasted pick and the result of nepotism. Bronny's struggles during his freshman year at USC definitely didn't help things, as he averaged just 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists in 19 minutes per game, while shooting 3.6% from the floor, 26% from three, and 67% from the line. His struggles in the Summer League preseason and his limited NBA action have done nothing to help things. Now, I'll be honest up front about my position on this whole situation. I am a die-hard Cleveland fan, so I'll always have a soft spot for LeBron and an extension Bronny. That being said, I always thought that he should have done at least one more year in college before coming to the draft. I also didn't think that there was much risk, as it was the 55th overall pick. So I wanted to take a deeper look at recent players taken with the 55th overall pick to get a comparison as to who they were going into the draft and where they ended up afterwards. I will be going back through the previous 10 drafts all the way back to 2014. And one stat that I will be using off and on during this ranking is win shares, which is an estimate of the number of wins that a player has provided to his team. It's an accumulative stat that can show how helpful a player has been so far to their team, similar to WAR in baseball. Now we'll move backwards, starting with the 2023 draft, where the Indiana Pacers selected 6'4" shooting guard Isaiah Wong out of Miami. Wong was also a 4-star recruit out of Monsignor Bonner High School in Pennsylvania. He was a consensus top 90 recruit. He had a very good 4-year career at Miami, ending his career with the Hurricanes second all-time in minutes with 4,104 and fourth all-time in points with 1,866. His last year of college, he averaged 16.2 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 2.2 assists, shooting 45% from the field, 38% from three, and 85% from the line in 33 minutes per game. He also was an All-American honorable mention by the Associated Press and was first team All-ACC. Scouts liked his versatility on defense and his shot making. After being drafted by Indiana, he was signed to a 2-way contract with the Pacers, playing in one NBA game with them. He then signed an Exhibit 10 deal with the Utah Jazz this past offseason, but did not make the team out of training camp. He signed a 2-way deal with the Charlotte Hornets and has played in 2 more games with them so far this year. He has averaged 6.7 points, 1.7 rebounds, and 1.3 assists, shooting 42.9% from the field, 33% from three, and 87.5% from the line in 3 games over 2 seasons. Overall, although Bronny was ranked a little higher as a prospect coming out of high school, Isaiah Wong definitely showed more in his college career and also has a little bit better performance in his limited NBA time. Wong has accumulated 0.1 win shares in his 2 seasons with the Pacers and Hornets. Now we move back to the 2022 draft, where the Golden State Warriors drafted Brazilian power forward Gui Santos with the 55th overall pick. Santos played for Minas, a professional team in Brazil. In his last year playing with them, he averaged 10.2 points, 5.1 rebounds, and 2 assists in 25.9 minutes per game. He also played for the Brazil's national team in the FIBA AmeriCup, where he averaged 8.3 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 1 assist. Scouts liked his scoring off the dribble and thought he was a good rebounder and defender, but he would need to add strength and improve his shooting to be a good NBA player. Overall in his career, he has played 29 total games, averaging 3 points, 1.9 rebounds, and 0.6 assists, shooting 50% from the field, 36% from three, and 89% from the line in just 8 minutes per game. For most of his career, like a lot of these guys we'll talk about, he's been up and down between the Warriors and the G League affiliate. Like Isaiah Wong, Gui Santos has had better stats coming into the draft than James, although that hasn't translated into very much of an NBA opportunity. So far, he has accumulated 0.7 win shares in his 2 seasons with the Warriors. Now moving back one more year to the 2021 draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder selected Maryland shooting guard Aaron Wiggins. Wiggins was a 4-star recruit out of Wesleyan Christian High School in North Carolina. He had a pretty solid 3-year career with Maryland, where his junior year he averaged 14.5 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. However, he showed a lot of inconsistencies with his jumper, as his 3-point percentage went from 41% his freshman year all the way down to 31% his sophomore year and 36% his junior year. Being 6'6" and having an 8'7" standing reach, scouts thought that he had the tools to become a solid 3-and-D wing, although he would need to have a more consistent consistent jumper in order to make that happen. Well, he certainly has made it happen, as over the past few seasons, Aaron Wiggins has developed into one of the best 3-and-D role players in the league. Last season for the Thunder, he played in 78 games, averaging 6.9 points, 2.4 rebounds, and 1.1 assists, while shooting 50% from the field, a scorching hot 49% from 3, and 79% from the line. He proved that he could be an impactful player early on in his career, averaging 8.3 points as a rookie for the Thunder. He was originally signed to a 2-way contract after being drafted, but had that converted to a standard contract by the Thunder during his rookie season. This past offseason, he signed a 5-year, $47 million contract to stay with the Thunder, as he's made the jump from 55th overall pick to highly impactful role player for a great Thunder team. So far in his career, he has accumulated 8.8 win shares, which is top 10 all time by someone drafted 55th overall, and is only going to go up from there. Moving backward again, we go to the 2020 draft, where the Brooklyn Nets selected 6'5" shooting guard Jay Scrubb out of John A. Logan College with the 55th pick. Scrubb was a 0-star recruit coming out of Trinity High School in Kentucky and signed with JUCO John A. Logan College. He had a great year there, averaging 21.9 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 2.7 assists. He shot 50% from the field, 33% from 3, and 72% from the line, and was ranked as the #1 JUCO recruit for the next year. He had offers to play at several D1 schools and signed with Louisville, but he ended up declaring for the draft. Scouts really liked his athletic ability, and he showed that he was a talented scorer. However, many of them were concerned with how he would fare making the jump from junior college all the way to the NBA. He was traded on draft night from the Nets to the Clippers, where he played 22 games over 2 seasons with them. He then played the next season with Orlando, playing in only 2 games. He then signed with the Boston Celtics and impressed them enough in the summer league and training camp to earn a 2-way contract. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL in practice before the season began and missed that entire season. This year, he signed an Exhibit 10 deal with the Celtics, but did not make the team out of training camp and is now playing for their G League affiliate. Over 3 seasons so far, Scrubb has averaged 4 points, 1.5 rebounds, and 0.4 assists, shooting 41.6% from the field, 31.3% from 3, and 76% from the line, accumulating -0.1 win shares over 24 total games played for the Clippers and Magic. Now, on to the 2019 draft, where the New York Knicks selected 6'1" point guard Kyle Guy out of Virginia. Guy was a 4-star recruit coming out of Lawrence Central High School in Indianapolis, Indiana. He signed with Virginia, where he played 3 seasons. His junior year, he averaged 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 45% from the field, 42% from 3, and 83% from the line, helping lead his team to an NCAA championship. Scouts loved his long-range shooting, as he was touted as one of the best shooters in the draft that year. He was good moving off of screens and had a quick release to get shots off over taller defenders. However, scouts had concerns with his lack of size and strength at just 6'1" and 168 pounds coming into the draft. They wondered if he had the strength to keep up defensively in the NBA, and if he had the playmaking ability to make it as a point guard, which is where he would have to play at that size. He was traded by the Knicks shortly after being drafted to the Sacramento Kings for Ignas Brazdeikis and signed a 2-way contract. He played for the Kings for 2 seasons and then signed with the Cavs, but could not make the team out of training camp in preseason. So he signed a 2-way deal with the Miami Heat and played 19 games with them in the 2022 season. He has not played in the NBA since that season. He's bounced around to a couple different teams overseas, playing in Spain and in Greece. Although he sported an all-time name and fantastic hair, he was not a very impactful NBA player, as the 3-point shot that was so highly touted never really seemed to translate. He averaged 3.1 points, 1 rebound, and 0.9 assists, shooting 36% from the field, 30% from 3, and 75% from the line in 53 career games, accumulating 0.1 win shares over 3 seasons with the Sacramento Kings and Miami Heat. Moving backwards, we go to the 2018 draft, where the Charlotte Hornets select Lithuanian small forward Arnoldas Kulboka with its 55th overall pick. He was a very intriguing young prospect coming out of Orlandina, a professional team in Italy. There he averaged 8.3 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 0.7 assists, while shooting 36% from the field, 36% from 3, and 81% from the line. Scouts thought he had a lot of really good offensive skills, being able to score in the post, in transition, and shooting from the perimeter. He also had solid playmaking skills they hoped would translate. They noted that he needed to add strength to be able to rebound and defend at the NBA level. He was drafted as a draft and stash player by the Charlotte Hornets and ended up playing 3 more seasons overseas before coming over for the 2021-22 season. However, he only played in 2 games for the Hornets, taking 1 shot, failing to score a point in the NBA. He played for most of that season with the Hornets G League affiliate before going back to play overseas, and he has not been back to the NBA since then. Here we can clearly see the volatility of late second round picks. Although you'll have some gems, there will still just as often be players who never really pan out. Over the course of 2 games, Kulboka didn't record a point, rebound, or assist and was worth 0 win shares. Now onto the 2017 draft, where the Utah Jazz selected 6'2" point guard Nigel Williams-Goss out of Gonzaga. Williams-Goss was a 4-star recruit out of Findlay Prep in Henderson, Nevada. He played 2 seasons at Washington before transferring for his junior year at Gonzaga. In his junior year, he averaged 16.8 points, 6 rebounds, and 4.7 assists, shooting 48% from the field and 87% from the line in 32 minutes per game. Scouts really liked his playmaking, as he showed he could make good decisions with the ball in his hand. He also showed promise as a spot-up shooter, though he had inconsistent percentages throughout his college career. They were worried about his lack of elite athleticism and wondered if that would limit his ability to be a good player in the NBA. After being drafted, Williams-Goss ended up playing 2 seasons in the EuroLeague with Greek clubs Partizan and Olympiakos. He then went to the Jazz for the 2019-2020 season, playing in 10 total games by the team. He was waived by them partly throughout the season and finished the year playing for the Jazz G League team. He then went back overseas, playing for 2 seasons with Real Madrid, and is currently playing for Olympiakos again in Greece. Williams-Goss averaged 1.4 points, 0.6 rebounds, and 0.6 assists, shooting 31.3% from the field, 28.6% from 3, and 100% from the line. He accumulated 0 win shares in 10 total games for the Utah Jazz. Moving on to the 2016 draft, where the Brooklyn Nets selected Marcus Paige, a 6'1" shooting guard out of North Carolina. Paige was a 4-star recruit out of Lynn Mar High School in Marion, Iowa, who was a McDonald's All-American in 2012. He played 4 years with the Tar Heels, averaging 12.6 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 3.6 assists, shooting 39% from the field, 35% from 3, and 77% from the line in 31 minutes per game his senior season. Scouts really liked his ability as a scorer, especially a shooter. He was the guy who hit that crazy double-clutch 3-pointer in the NCAA title game, which everyone forgets about because of what happened right afterwards. Yeah, crazy shot. However, scouts were worried about his lack of quickness and size and wondered if his 3-point shot would be consistent enough at the NBA level. Paige was traded by the Nets to the Utah Jazz on draft night for Isaiah Whitehead, but he would not appear in the game for the Jazz, spending the entire season with their G League team. He signed a 2-way deal in 2017 with the Charlotte Hornets, where he got his only NBA action, appearing in 5 games for them. After this season, he also moved overseas, playing in Serbia, France, and Spain. Paige averaged 2.4 points per game, 0.8 rebounds, and 0.6 assists, shooting 28% from the field, 25% from 3, and making all his free throws. Although he hasn't had much of an NBA career, he might have the greatest nickname listed on Basketball Reference of all time, Picklehead. I want to know that story so bad. He accumulated 0 win shares in 5 games played for the Charlotte Hornets. Now let's move on to the 2015 draft, where the San Antonio Spurs drafted Cady Lalanne, a 6'10" center from the University of Massachusetts. Born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, he was a 0-star recruit coming out of Oak Ridge High School in Orlando, Florida. He ended up getting deported back to Haiti for 6 months right after graduating high school because of a citizenship dispute, but he ended up being able to return. He went to UMass and had a pretty solid 4-year career there. His senior season, he averaged 11.6 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 0.3 assists. Scouts thought he was an intriguing, although super raw prospect. He was a very good rebounder, listed as one of the best offensive rebounders in the draft, and showed that he had the tools to be a good defender, but needed to add more strength and have consistent effort on the defensive end. Upon being drafted, Lalanne played in the Spurs G League affiliate and was known as the best center in the G League. He was stashed overseas by the Spurs, but has never made a return to the NBA. He has had a long career overseas though, playing in China, Spain, Italy, Kuwait, Puerto Rico, Turkey, and he is currently playing in South Korea. Now we are to the last draft of the video in 2014, where the Miami Heat drafted Semaj Christon, a 6'3" point guard out of Xavier. Christon was a 3-star recruit coming out of Winton Woods High School in Cincinnati, Ohio. He committed to Xavier and had a pretty good 2 years there, averaging 17 points, 2.7 rebounds, and 4.2 assists in his sophomore season, shooting 47% from the field, 39% from 3, and 67% from the line. Going into the draft, scouts liked his physical attributes. He's taller for a point guard with a good wingspan at 6'6" and was a good athlete. He was a good slasher, was great at finishing in transition and drawing fouls. However, they worried about his jump shot and thought he didn't have the best natural point guard instincts, which was shown by his relatively low assist numbers despite playing lead guard at Xavier. There were also questions about his handle and pace. After being drafted by the Heat, he was traded to the Charlotte Bobcats for Shabazz Napier. Remember him? He ended up playing in the G League for a few years, then played in Italy for the 2015-2016 season. He was signed by the Oklahoma City Thunder and went back and forth between the main team and the G League. It was during this season where he got his only NBA action, appearing in 64 games for the Thunder. After that season, he went back overseas and played in China, France, Spain, and currently plays in Italy. Overall in his career, he played 64 games, averaging 2.9 points, 1.4 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 34% from the field, 19% from 3, and 54% from the line, accumulating 0.1 win shares with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, looking at all of this information, what conclusions can we take away? Although we may not remember it, Bronny James was a highly touted prospect coming out of high school, as he was a consensus top 40 prospect and a 4-star recruit. Of the people we've talked about, he was actually among the highest rated coming into college. However, he has by far the worst college or other professional stats of anyone we've looked at. This lends to my initial thought that he should have stayed in college for at least another year. We also forget that Bronny suffered a serious cardiac arrest during the summer before his freshman season, with his potential to even play basketball again being in doubt. Although he made a full recovery and was cleared to play, who's to say how much that affected him that year? However, teams make risks all the time with late picks, as most second-round picks don't end up working out. As we can see over the past 10 drafts, only one of these picks turned into an impactful NBA player. I could see a team like the Lakers believing that his freshman season had everything to do with the health issues he suffered and wanting him to have what would essentially be a second year of college in their system. It also doesn't hurt that his father is arguably the greatest player of all time who is advocating for his team to draft him. Ultimately, I still believe that Bronny James can be a good NBA player at some point. I just hope that the Lakers do the right thing and let him develop outside of the spotlight. Now that LeBron has had his moment of being able to play with his son, send him down to the G League and let him work on his game. Honestly, I kind of feel bad for Bronny a little bit. He's gotten a ton of hate and bad press because he's a late second round pick who isn't ready to contribute to the NBA right away, which most late second round picks aren't. He hasn't done anything to draw extra attention to himself. From interviews and things I've seen of him, he seems like a pretty chill, down-to-earth guy. I hope that he works hard to improve his game and that he can become a helpful player for the Lakers in a few years. Well, that's all I have for you today. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. With this being a new channel, any feedback and support you can give me would mean a ton. And comment what you think about this topic and any other topics you think would be fun to explore in depth like this. That's all for now. I'll see you next time.